see. Next was like this intersection of two planes. This was a 2-point question. Some of you'll notice. Did anybody notice you had like a 0.5 on your score? So this was a 1-point question, but I gave you half a point if you found that intersection, but maybe you just didn't quite name it correctly. So the two planes. So we've got a 2-dimensional flat surface going this way. We got a 2-dimensional flat surface going this way. I think almost all of us recognize that it's that line with that XYZ in there. But then we just have a little issue with how we named it. So when they intersect at this place right here, two planes are always going to intersect at a single line. So they're going to intersect at that line right there. And we go back to how many points do we need to name a line? How many? 2. That's it. So some of us were just naming this XYZ or YZX or ZYX. So you only need 2 points to name a line. So you got half a point. You recognize this is where that intersection is. It is this line right here. So I think that's something that we're pretty familiar with. Like you think about a Kleenex box, you've got the corners, the edges. You walk into a room where the wall meets the ceiling, that's going to form a line. So we recognize that, but just the naming piece, this is going to be the line, X, Y we could call it, or XZ we could call it. So any of those would suffice. If you put X, Y, Z on that one, you got a half a point on. Because you put 3 letters instead of just the 2 that are here. All right? And lastly was the bisect. So let's take a look at bisect. See if I can find that one. Right here. Try that one. So here again is where some new terminology is coming in. Bisect, this is a word that we'll see all the way until May. So we'll be practicing with this word. We start using it with proofs. We start getting later on into some more advanced topics, but we'll keep seeing that word. But as we are right now just getting started with it, it is a new thing that we have to kind of pick up. So it says QS bisects angle PQR. I'm a visual person. I like to see it, so I just do quick sketches. So this is my angle PQR right here. And then I have a QS, which is a ray that bisects out into here. The bisecting bi, you probably heard that word in other words, bicycle, things like that. Binomial, you think back to algebra. Bi means 2, so it splits it into 2 angles, and then those 2 angles are congruent. So those 2 pieces are going to be exactly the same. So that QS cuts through that angle, makes 2 equal pieces. Now we continue. PQS is 2x plus 1. So we fill in that unknown. SQR, the other half is 5x minus 20. We fill that in. We want to know what is the full length of PQR, the full angle, of PQR. So we want to find out what is this full angle with these 2 unknowns combined. So if you look at it, we're like, well, we don't know any of those angles. They're both unknown. But there is one big thing that we know about both of these unknown angles. They both have the same measure. How am I going to set up an algebra problem to start solving this one? Yeah, you can set them equal to each other. So we see bisects. You'll see midpoints a lot. Midpoints do the same thing to a segment. Split it into 2 equal parts. Now we can set those 2 equal to each other. So we'll get 2x plus 1 equals 5x minus 20. I'm just going to do some quick algebra. Just the 2x will come over, add the 20, you'll get 3x equals 21, so x will equal 7. Once we know x is 7, now we can start to put those back into the original equation. So 2x plus 1, put a 7 in, that's going to be 15. Down here is going to be 15. So the total, 15 plus 15, is going to equal 30. So that would be my full angle. So bisect was kind of the word I think we had a little trouble with. What I saw is the other side of things where you're trying to add the two unknowns to equal 180. That is if we have two angles that make a linear pair, make a straight line. But in this case, we would set those two equal to each other. Are there any others from the quiz? I know it's been 2 days since you've taken it, but are there any others from the quiz that you can recall that are bugging you? Well, I will look later in class to see if I can somehow get you so you guys can see some feedback. So that is something that yesterday as teachers, we had a little meeting, geometry teachers, trying to figure out how we can do that. So we're still learning things too about how to navigate this online stuff. So we appreciate you guys being patient. Usually I just have a paper quiz. I'd hand the paper quiz back and I'd have some notes on there to help you out. And then I actually have like a file folder. You put all your quizzes and tests in the file folder. Then we bring them out and use them every once in a while to help us. But things are different now. So we got to look at new ways to organize. Hey.
There was one that was like or something.
What is Y? I think I know which one you're talking about. This one? Yeah. This one? Okay. Okay. So this one, how can we find the value of Y? So here we have segments. And I don't like to assume anything, but you look at this segment, you look at where H is. H right at the midpoint of that segment, would you say? No. So what we're dealing with a segment addition. So this is where the segment GH plus HI is going to equal that full segment. So I kind of think of it as being like two pieces of wood, two pieces of lumber. You got GH, you got the HI. Those two together are going to add up to GI total. So then you can start to fill in. And this is where you could write like on a sheet of paper, if you have a sheet of paper during your quiz, 7y plus 3. HI is 3y minus 5. And then the whole thing is 9y plus 7. So segment addition, then I'm going to take the GH segment plus the HI segment, and that's going to equal the GI segment. So 7y plus 3 plus 3y minus 5 equals 9y plus 7. And let's see, what would y be? So on the left side, I'll get 10y. Negative 2, we'll add the 2 over, subtract the 9 over, we'll get y equals 9. Should be our result. And then to find GH, HI, and GI, what am I going to do with this 9? Throw it back in. Plug her back in, figure out those lengths. And then if you did it right, the two smaller segments should add up to the combined GI. So that'll be what we'll see. So I didn't go through all the algebra. That's just some basic algebra that you've been looking at since pre-algebra, Algebra 1 days. But setting it up is kind of the thing in geometry now, just logical reasoning. How is this segment plus this segment going to equal that GI segment? So that's one you're thinking of? Okay. So you're looking for, so as you're getting more experience now, you're looking for, are the two segments equal? Are they equal in this one? Are those two segments equal, GH and HI?
No.
Nope. So then we're going to be using segment addition. So they need to add up to something. If H was a midpoint, you have this, you have a midpoint, these two are equal. Now, whatever the case is, 3x minus 4, 2x plus 5, whatever it is, now you're going to set those equal to each other if you have a midpoint. There's two different cases. Either they're going to add up using segment addition, or you're going to set them equal to each other if you have equal parts. And like I said, we'll get some more practice with that. This is just the very first chapter. It's the same stuff we kind of keep seeing as we continue. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. I recorded that video, so if you ever want to go back and take a look. But we are going to take a look at 1.7. I want to look at what numbers were those again, Katie?